For hundreds of years, the great supercarrier Eclipse lay silent, buried deep beneath the surface of a forgotten alien world. Its vast hull, once shining bright with the power of humanity, was hidden beneath miles of rock and dust. The galaxy had almost forgotten that such a ship ever existed, but now, the past was stirring. The planet known to the galaxy as Viridian had long been a mystery. Many explorers came and went, but none dared to dig deep into its rough surface. Strange energy signals sometimes flickered from beneath the ground, but no one had found their source. Until now. A small team of human archaeologists, led by Commander Lara Jin, had arrived on Viridian with a mission: to search for ancient human relics lost after the Great Collapse. Humanity had suffered. Terrible wars and setbacks, and many powerful machines had disappeared. The eclipse was a legend, a story told in hushed tones by those who still believed in humanity's past strength. Lara's team had barely begun their excavation when their machines hit something hard, a smooth, dark surface unlike the rocky planet soil. Excitement and fear raced through the team. As they cleared the debris, a huge metallic shape appeared. It was the hull of the Eclipse, the largest supercarrier ever built by humans. The ship's surface was scarred and worn, but still mighty. Strange symbols glowed faintly, and the ship's AI core began to hum to life. Deep inside the Eclipse, long dormant systems stirred. In a cryogenic bay, dozens of humans, once the ship's crew, started to awaken from their centuries-long sleep. Lara watched as the first crew member opened his eyes, confused but alert. "Where are we?" he whispered. "We're back," Lara said quietly. "You're safe now." The news of the Eclipse's awakening spread quickly across Viridian and beyond. Alien watchers, starfleets, and distant governments all received the signal. A once-dead symbol of human power was alive again, and this shook the galaxy deeply. In the control room of the Eclipse, the ship's AI, called Sentinel, spoke in a calm, confident voice. "Captain Mira Voss, your ship has returned. You are required on the bridge." Mira, the ship's commanding officer, sat up slowly. Her mind was clouded, but a spark of determination flared. She looked around at the ship's ancient technology, now humming with new life. "Report," she ordered. Sentinel replied, "The ship is fully operational. External communications have been restored. We are currently on Viridian, a remote planet in the outer rim. Our burial here was planned to protect us from enemies long ago." Mira's eyes narrowed. "Enemies?" "Yes, Captain. Centuries ago, we were forced to hide to survive. Our enemies believed us destroyed." Mira stood and walked to the viewport. Outside, the strange red sky of Viridian stretched endlessly. "We have been silent for too long," she said. "It is time for humanity to rise again." Far beyond, Viridion, galactic powers began to prepare. The known empires, the Zorath Collective, the Velnari Dominion, and the Kaldari Federation, had all feared human strength in the past. The Eclipse had been their nightmare, a symbol of human resilience and war power. Now that nightmare was real once more. Admiral Tikarn of the Velnari Dominion stared at the glowing map in his war room. "The humans return," he said grimly. "We must be ready." But not all were afraid. Some saw the Eclipse's return as a chance. Ambassador Nira Selen of the Kaldari Federation believed that humanity could be a force for peace and strength. "If we reach out," she said to her council, "we may gain a powerful ally." Back on the Eclipse, Captain Mira gathered her crew. "We don't know what awaits us out there," she told them, "but we carry the hopes of all humanity. We must be ready to defend, to explore, and to remind the galaxy what it means to be human." The crew nodded, a mixture of fear and pride in their eyes. These were the people who had been frozen in time, but their spirit was alive. Suddenly, alarms rang throughout the ship. Sensors had detected a small fleet approaching Viridian. It was the first challenge to the Eclipse since its return. "Prepare for contact," Mira ordered. "Let them see that humanity still stands tall." Outside, the ships of the Zorath Collective moved like shadows, cautious but ready. The galaxy was watching. The long-buried eclipse was no longer just a legend. It was a living reminder of a human past filled with strength, courage, and an unbreakable will. As the standoff began, the eclipse's crew felt the weight of history and the promise of a future where humanity would no longer be forgotten. The eclipse floated silently in the black space above Viridian. Its massive form cast a shadow over the planet below, a ghost from the past come back to life. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly to understand what had happened during the centuries. They were asleep. Captain Mira Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the flickering holographic displays. Each screen showed pieces of history, battles, and data stored in the ship's memory banks. They were not just a warship. They were a moving archive of human strength and survival. "We need to know why we were buried," Mira said to her first officer, Lieutenant Rail. "Who wanted us gone, and why now?" Rail nodded, his brow furrowed. "The ship's AI is retrieving all available records, but much was lost or erased. What remains points to a time of great conflict. Humans were at war with multiple alien empires at once." Mira's jaw tightened. "The galaxy has changed. If old enemies still remember us, they might try to destroy us again." Far from the eclipse, in the diplomatic halls of the Velnari Dominion, the return of the human supercarrier caused chaos. News channels broadcast grainy images of the ship's silhouette against the red planet. Across the galaxy, leaders debated what to do. "We can't ignore this," Admiral Takarn said in a council meeting. "Humans once commanded respect through fear. Now they return. We must prepare to defend or attack." But Ambassador Nira Celine spoke calmly. "The humans carry ancient technology and old memories, but they may also seek peace. They are not just weapons, they are survivors. We should offer dialogue before war." Back on the eclipse, the crew found something that surprised them, a hidden message from their ancestors. It was a recording, stored in the ship's deepest archives, left by Admiral Selina Voss, Mira's great-grandmother, and the last captain before the ship was buried. Mira watched the flickering image of her ancestor. The woman's voice was strong, filled with hope and warning. "If you see this message, it means humanity's enemies thought us gone. But we hid the eclipse to protect the future. Our strength is not just in weapons, but in unity and courage. Remember this. The galaxy may fear us, but we must earn their respect." Mira felt a surge of pride. "We are not just fighters," she told her crew. "We are the guardians of a legacy." Meanwhile, scouts from the Caldari Federation approached Viridian cautiously. They wanted to learn more about the humans without provoking war. Commander Jara, leading the Caldari team, communicated with the Eclipse for the first time. "We come in peace," Jara said through the ship's translators. "We want to understand who you are and what your goals are now." Mira responded firmly. "We seek to protect humanity and to find our place in the galaxy again. We will not be the weapons of the past, but we will defend ourselves if needed." The first contact was tense but peaceful. It marked the beginning of a new chapter, where humans would show the galaxy that they were more than just fighters. Inside the Eclipse, scientists and engineers worked together to restore the ship's old systems and learn new ones. The ship's technology was far beyond most known science. It was a mix of human ingenuity and ancient advances lost to time. "Lieutenant," Rail showed Mira a display of the ship's power core, still glowing strong. "This ship could run for centuries more. We have the strength to stand against any enemy." Mira smiled. "Then we must be ready. The galaxy will not wait." Outside, the starry sky was filled with distant ships watching the eclipse. Some with fear, some with hope. The humans had returned from the shadows of history. Now the galaxy would learn that the true power of humanity was not just in their machines, but in their will to survive and unite. The vast emptiness of space stretched before the eclipse, its massive frame cutting through the dark like a silent giant. Captain Mira Voss stood firmly on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the approaching fleet. The sensors had detected ships coming, fast, an armada from the Zorath Collective, longtime rivals of humanity. The Eclipse's crew worked with quiet efficiency. Their fingers flew over control panels, weapon systems hummed to life, and shield generators began to pulse with energy. This was their moment, to prove that humanity was not a shadow of the past, but a force reborn. Lieutenant Rail approached Mira with a steady voice. "Captain, the enemy fleet numbers 60 ships. They are moving in formation, clearly prepared for battle." Mira's eyes hardened. "And they believe we are weak. They think we are relics. We will show them how wrong they are." The Zorath fleet commander, Admiral Vrex, stared at the Eclipse's image on his view screen. A single human supercarrier, buried for centuries, they say. If they are so dangerous, why now? Why come back? He tapped his communicator. "Prepare to engage on my mark. Show them no mercy." Back on the Eclipse, the crew held their breath as the enemy ships closed in. Suddenly, the void exploded with energy as the first shots were fired. Plasma beams cut through space, missiles streaked toward their targets, and the battle began. But the Eclipse was no ordinary ship. Its shields flared bright, absorbing blasts that would have shattered lesser vessels. Drone fighters launched in, swarms darting through enemy lines with lightning speed, disabling ships with precise strikes. "Deploy countermeasures," ordered Lieutenant Rail. "Focus fire on the leading Zorath cruiser." The battle was fierce, but the humans fought with a skill and coordination that surprised their foes. The ship's ancient but powerful technology combined with modern tactics made the Eclipse a deadly opponent. Captain Mira's voice rang out clearly. "We fight not to conquer, but to survive. Let this battle remind the galaxy. Humanity is here to stay." The Zorath fleet suffered heavy losses. One cruiser after another fell to the Eclipse's relentless assault. Admiral Vrex growled in frustration. "They fight like the legends say, stronger than we believed." As the last of the attacking ships fled, the Eclipse sent a message across the stars. The broadcast was simple but powerful. "We are the Eclipse. Humanity's strength was never gone. We seek peace, but we will defend our own. The galaxy must remember. Do not underestimate us." The message spread quickly. Across star systems, governments and civilians alike felt a mix of fear, respect, and curiosity. The return of the Eclipse was no longer a secret. It was a challenge and a promise. On the Eclipse, the crew celebrated quietly but remained alert. Captain Mira knew this was only the beginning. "We have made our first mark," she said, "but there are more battles ahead. Battles of trust, of diplomacy, and if needed, war." Back on Viridian, diplomats from the Caldari Federation arrived to meet the humans face to face. Ambassador Nira Seelan stepped aboard the Eclipse with a calm smile. "You have shown great strength. Now, let us find a way forward, together." Mira nodded. "Strength alone will not bring peace. We must build new bonds, but we will never forget the lessons of our past." The galaxy watched closely. The Eclipse was no longer a forgotten giant buried beneath the soil. It was a beacon, a symbol of human courage, resilience, and the unyielding spirit to reclaim their place among the stars. The galaxy had never seen a return like this. The Eclipse was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol that stirred hope, fear, and uncertainty across star systems. After the battle with the Zorath Collective, alliances shifted, and political leaders found themselves on edge. Every empire watched closely as humanity took its first steps back into the cosmic stage. Captain Mira Voss stood in the conference room of the Eclipse, facing a gathering of ambassadors and representatives from several galactic powers. The room was filled with tension and questions. Ambassador Nira Seelan of the Caldari Federation was the first to speak. "Captain Voss, your arrival has changed everything. Many see humanity as a threat, others as an opportunity. What is your true purpose?" Mira's voice was steady. "We are here to protect our people and to find our place in this galaxy. Humanity has survived great trials, and we seek peace, but we will not bow to threats." A delegate from the Velnari Dominion narrowed his eyes. Your words sound honorable, but your technology and power remind us of past wars. How can we trust that you will not return to those days? Mira met his gaze directly. Trust must be earned. We offer dialogue and cooperation, but if attacked, we will defend ourselves with all we have. The council debated for hours. Old fears clashed with new hopes. Some proposed strict controls on human expansion. Others saw a chance to strengthen their own defenses by allying with the Eclipse. Outside the council chambers, Lieutenant Rail spoke with engineers and strategists. This is a game of patience. The galaxy will try to test us in every way. We must be ready. Mira agreed. We must show them our strength is not just in weapons, but in our choices. Meanwhile, the Eclipse's scientists worked on sharing some of their technology. They offered star maps, advanced medical devices, and energy systems that could benefit many worlds. These gestures slowly began to soften some of the opposition, but not all were convinced. Secret groups, fearing human power, plotted to undermine the Eclipse. They spread rumors of hidden weapons and dark intentions. The Eclipse's crew knew they had to be vigilant. One night, Mira stood alone on the observation deck, watching the stars. Her thoughts were heavy. We carry the hopes of billions. If we fail, humanity's second chance will be lost. Suddenly, a message arrived from an unexpected source, a small planet on the edge of known space. It was a call for help. A new threat was rising, one that might force old enemies to become allies. Mira gathered her officers. The galaxy is a chessboard. Every move matters. We must be ready to protect those who cannot protect themselves. As the Eclipse prepared to move, alliances shifted once more. The galaxy trembled not from fear alone, but from the uncertain promise of what humanity's return could bring. The galaxy had barely begun to adjust to the Eclipse's return when whispers of an ancient enemy spread like wildfire. This enemy had been hidden in the darkness for centuries, silent, watching, and waiting for the right moment to strike. Captain, Mira Voss stood in the command center of the Eclipse, her face serious as she listened to the latest intelligence reports. Who are they? She asked. Lieutenant Rail frowned. We don't have a name yet. But they were behind the destruction that forced humanity into hiding. This force manipulated many events across the galaxy to keep powerful civilizations weak and divided. Mira's eyes narrowed. So they wanted us buried to keep us from growing strong again. Exactly, Rail said. They control technology we barely understand. Their reach is long, and their methods are cruel. The Eclipse's crew worked day and night, studying intercepted messages and strange energy signatures. Slowly, a picture began to form. The enemy was a shadowy alliance of alien species who had prospered in the dark times of human absence. They used spies, sabotage, and fear to keep the galaxy under their control. The first real sign of their power came when a nearby star system was suddenly destroyed. A wave of energy swept across the planets, leaving ruin in its path. The galaxy was shaken. The Eclipse's sensors detected the source, a weapon far beyond known technology. Mira turned to her crew. This is more than a threat. It's a warning. They want to scare us back into hiding. But the humans would not run again. In a secret meeting, ambassadors from the Caldari Federation, the Velnari Dominion, and even some from the Zorath Collective gathered aboard the Eclipse. The threat was too great for old rivalries. Ambassador Nira Salen spoke with urgency. We must unite or fall apart. This enemy has no respect for borders or peace. Admiral Takarn of the Velnari Dominion nodded. Our weapons and fleets alone are not enough. We need the Eclipse and humanity's strength. Captain Mira took a deep breath. Then we will lead this fight. Humanity has survived darkness before. Together, we will face this shadow. The coalition formed quickly. Fleets from different species trained side by side, sharing knowledge and strategies. The Eclipse became the center of a new alliance, a beacon of hope against the growing dark. As the enemy's forces gathered, their plans became clearer. They aimed to seize control of a powerful energy source hidden in a distant system, a source that could decide the fate of the galaxy. Mira prepared her crew for the coming battle. "This is not just about survival," she said. "It is about freedom, hope, and the future of every being in this galaxy." The Eclipse and its allies jumped into the heart of the conflict. Battles raged across star systems, testing every skill and weapon. The shadow enemy used every trick, but the coalition fought with determination. In the final moments of the campaign, the Eclipse led a daring strike against the enemy's command ship. The battle was fierce, but human courage and strategy won the day. As the enemy's leader was captured, the Shadow Alliance began to crumble. The galaxy breathed a sigh of relief. Mira looked out from the bridge, her heart filled with pride. "We have faced the darkness. Now it is time to build a future, one where no one will be buried or forgotten." The Eclipse had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of resilience, unity, and the unstoppable spirit of humanity. The stars stretched endlessly before the Eclipse as it sailed through the calm space left after the great battle. Captain Mira Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes reflecting the distant light of new suns. The galaxy was quiet now, but the silence felt different, full of promise. The war with the shadow enemy had ended, but its impact would be felt for generations. The old rivalries and fears were slowly fading, replaced by a cautious hope. The coalition that had formed aboard the Eclipse was growing stronger, bringing together many species who had once been enemies. In the council chamber, ambassadors from dozens of worlds gathered to discuss the future. They looked to humanity, to the Eclipse as leaders of this new alliance. Mira addressed them, her voice firm but warm. "We fought together not because we were forced, but because we chose unity over fear. This is our chance to build a galaxy where no one lives in shadow or silence." Many nodded, their faces hopeful. Ambassador Nira Selen stood beside Mira. "The Eclipse has shown us what courage and cooperation can achieve. Together, we will protect peace and explore new horizons." Back on the Eclipse, the crew worked to repair damage and improve systems. Scientists shared knowledge with their new allies, unlocking secrets and creating innovations that would benefit all. Lieutenant Rail joined Mira on the observation deck. "Do you think humanity is ready for this role?" Mira smiled softly. "We have no choice. We carry the past in our hearts and the future in our hands. It is time to lead, not just with power, but with wisdom." The ship's AI sentinel spoke quietly. "Captain, sensors detect new planets suitable for colonization. Opportunities for growth and cooperation await." Mira's gaze turned outward toward the stars. "Then we will go forward together." The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and division. It was a place of possibility and shared strength. The Eclipse was a symbol of rebirth, not just for humanity, but for all who dared to dream of a better future. As the supercarrier moved into unexplored space, Captain Mira Voss knew the journey had only begun. The story of humanity was far from over. It was a story of hope, courage, and the endless will to rise again. The galaxy no longer trembled in fear of the Eclipse. Instead, it looked toward a new dawn, a dawn where all beings could stand together, united by the light of a common future.